Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to help you cut through all the noise and really get to the heart of things, become truly well-informed. Today, we are diving deep into something incredibly personal and powerful. It's the inner workings of your own mind, specifically how it seems to operate on two different levels and how they interact, constantly shaping basically every experience you have. And you've given us some really fascinating sources that offer a pretty direct and practical look at this whole subject.
Exactly. And our mission today really is to pull out the absolute key insights from these sources. We want to give you just a crystal clear picture of how your thoughts and the suggestions you hear, even your deepest beliefs, how they fundamentally shape your health, your success, really your overall well-being. Get ready for some real aha moments, I think. Stuff that'll make you think, oh, that's why that happens.
Okay, let's unpack this then. So the core idea, it seems, from these sources, it's that we have one mind, just one. But it works in two distinct levels, the conscious and the subconscious. So let's start with the conscious mind. That's like your everyday thinking cap, right? The rational bit. It's where you think things through, you reason, you make choices deliberately, like, choosing a book or where to live or even your partner. The sources say that's all conscious mind stuff. They also call it the objective mind. Makes sense because it deals with the outside world, using your senses, observation, education, all that to navigate, your environment.
Right. But then there's the subconscious mind. And it's quite different. It's described as the intuitive, creative, even emotional level. It's really the seat of your feelings. And here's the really crucial part the sources hammer home. It's the part that actually executes ideas. It brings them into reality. So whatever your conscious mind thinks about regularly, habitually, what it accepts as true, the subconscious just takes that blueprint and starts working to make it happen. It gets called the subjective mind, too, because it seems to perceive things through intuition, kind of separate from the five senses, like it just knows. And it's the storehouse for all your memories. Apparently, it does its best work when the conscious mind takes a break, like during sleep or maybe in a hypnotic state. But it's really vital to grasp this point they make. These aren't two separate minds fighting it out.
No, it's more like two different spheres of activity, two ways of working within the one mind. And, your subconscious is busy all the time in the background, running your heartbeat, digestion, breathing, all that automatic stuff you don't consciously control.
Yeah, that makes sense. And the sources have this great analogy, really simple. Imagine your subconscious mind is like fertile soil. And your thoughts, they're the seeds. Whatever seeds you plant, good thoughts, bad thoughts, positive, negative, whatever, the soil just accepts them. No judgment. It doesn't argue. It just helps them grow, whatever they are. Okay, and this is where it starts to get really, really interesting, I think. One of the fundamental truths the sources keep coming back to is that the subconscious, it just doesn't argue, doesn't reason with you. It just accepts whatever you impress upon it, whatever your conscious mind truly believes.
Right.
And it gets to work making it real.
It's pretty remarkable how it does that, how it puts these ideas into action. It works by association of ideas. It draws on literally every piece of knowledge you've ever gathered in your whole life. The sources use phrases like, it taps into infinite power, energy, and wisdom within you, and it lines up all the laws of nature to get its way. Pretty powerful stuff. Sometimes the result is almost instant. Other times, it might take days or weeks, maybe even longer. The how isn't always clear. The mechanisms are so deep. But the sources insist it just does it.
Yeah, that sounds almost too easy in a way. Yeah. But then you get these insights from psychologists, from experiments with hypnosis, and they really seem to back this up.
Sure.
These experiments apparently showed again and again that the subconscious is, and this is a quote, incapable of making selections and comparisons. It just can't reason things out for itself. It will, quote, accept any suggestions, however false.
Yeah, exactly. And to make that really concrete, the sources describe these hypnotic subjects, people acting out being Napoleon Bonaparte, or like a cat or a dog. And they're totally convinced, just based on the suggestion, or a hypnotist suggests their back itches, or their nose is bleeding, or they're freezing cold, and they actually feel it physically, even if the room is warm. It really shows that impersonal, non-selective quality of the subconscious. It doesn't filter based on reality, just on what the conscious mind feeds it as true.
Okay, so what's the takeaway for us, for you listening? The sources are super clear on this. Yeah. Your conscious mind has this vital job. It's the watchman at the gate. Its main role, to protect your subconscious from false ideas, from negative impressions. Why? Because, like we just said, that subconscious part is incredibly receptive. It's highly amenable to suggestion, as they put it.
And we see this power of external suggestion, they call it heterosuggestion, very clearly in one example. Imagine a timid passenger on a ship. Someone says, oh, you look pale, you're going to be seasick. And bang, he turns pale, feels awful, becomes seasick. His subconscious just accepted that suggestion, probably linking it to fears he already had. But
Yeah.
now, picture a seasoned sailor. Same ship, same situation. Someone tries the same line on him. You look ill, gonna be seasick.
Ah.
What does the sailor do? He probably laughs it off. Or maybe gets annoyed. Why? Why a totally different reaction?
Right, and the key insight here from the sources is that a suggestion has no power in and of itself except if you accept it mentally. Your conscious mind, that watchman, has the power to just reject the suggestion. The sailor, he didn't fear seasickness. His subconscious was already conditioned, you could say, to believe he was immune. So the negative idea just bounced right off.
Yeah.
And there's this one story, it's really extreme, but it makes the point so powerfully. It's about a man who, for about 2 years, kept saying this thing: I would give my right arm to see my daughter cured. His daughter had this just terrible, crippling arthritis and also some kind of incurable skin condition that you won't believe this. There was a newspaper report. The family was in a car crash, and his right arm, it was torn off at the shoulder, tragically. But here's the thing. Immediately after the accident, his daughter's arthritis and her skin condition, it completely vanished. The conclusion drawn in the source is just stark. It says, your subconscious mind cannot take a joke. It takes you at your word.
Wow.
That is a powerful, if unsettling story. And it really does connect to maybe less dramatic, but still important patterns in our lives. Think about it from when we're kids, right? So many of us hear these negative suggestions. Oh, you can't do that. You'll never amount to anything. Careful, you'll get sick. You'll get the virus. If we unconsciously accept these, just let them sink in. They can really set us up for failure, for limitations in all sorts of ways. There's another story, equally chilling in its own way. A man in India goes to see a crystal gazer. She tells him, you've got a bad heart, you're going to die at the next new moon. He just completely accepted it. This powerful suggestion. He believed it utterly, told everyone, dwelled on it, and guess what? He died. Exactly as she predicted. But the crucial point is, he was the cause of his own death. Her words, her suggestion, had zero power on their own. It was his acceptance, his fear, his constant focus on it that made his subconscious bring it about.
So this is just so critical to understand. Let me repeat this bit from the sources. The suggestions of others in themselves have absolutely no power whatever over you, except the power that you give them through your own thoughts. You have to mentally consent. You have to entertain the thought. Let it in. Once you do that, it stops being their suggestion. It becomes your thought. And then you're the one doing the thinking, feeding it to your subconscious. You really do have the capacity, the choice in how you react and what you allow to take root. Okay, so given how powerful suggestion can be, especially negative suggestion, the sources offer a really strong countermove, autosuggestion, which just means basically suggesting something specific and definite to yourself, deliberately. There's a kind of amusing example in one source from a manual by Herbert Parkin. A New Yorker is visiting Chicago. His watch is still in New York time, an hour ahead. He bumps into his Chicago friend and says, oh, it's 12 o'clock. The Chicago friend, totally forgetting the time difference, immediately goes, oh, I'm hungry. Got to get lunch. It just shows how easily a suggestion, even an accidental one, can slip past conscious reasoning if you just accept it without thinking.
Right. But let's move beyond the amusing examples to some really practical, potentially life-changing ones from your sources. These show autosuggestion really working. Take the young singer. Talented voice, but crippled by stage fright. Just full of fear, thinking, they won't like me, I'm scared. So she started this specific technique. 3 times every day, she'd find a quiet spot, sit down comfortably, really relax her body, still her mind, and then she'd repeat, slowly with feeling, I sing beautifully. I am poised, serene, confident, and calm. Maybe 5 to 10 times each session. She did this 3 times a day and also right before going to sleep. And the result. In just 1 week, she felt completely poised and confident. Nailed her audition. Here's another one, really inspiring. A 75-year-old woman who managed to completely restore her memory. She'd gotten into this negative habit, constantly saying, oh, I'm losing my memory. But then she realized what she was doing and flipped it. She started practicing autosuggestion multiple times a day. She'd affirm things like, my memory from today on is improving in every department. I shall always remember whatever I need to know, and so on. And believe it or not, her memory was reportedly back to normal within about 3 weeks.
That's amazing. And there's another great one about a man using it to deal with a really bad temper. He started affirming things like, henceforth I shall grow more good-humored. Joy, happiness, and cheerfulness are now becoming my normal states of mind. He even affirmed he'd start infecting others with good humor. And he reported seeing marvelous results in about a month, became much more loving, more understanding. So the sources really frame this constructive autosuggestion as a kind of reconditioning therapy. It's a tool to consciously overwrite that old negative programming and actively build good, supportive habits of thought.
Yeah, and if we sort of zoom out again, connect this to the bigger picture, your mind operates a bit like a syllogism, like in logic. Whatever major premise your conscious mind assumes is true, that dictates the conclusion your subconscious mind reaches about, well, any situation or problem. The sources give these simple logic examples, right? Like, every virtue is laudable. Kindness is a virtue, therefore kindness is laudable. Or, all formed things change and pass away. The pyramids are formed things, therefore someday the pyramids will pass away. A correct conclusion follows from a correct premise. So the huge insight here is that the major premise, you adopt the core beliefs you hold as true, directly shape the conclusions, the outcomes your subconscious creates in your life.
Which leads perfectly into this really powerful case study. A professor came to one of the authors, apparently quite desperate. He said he'd lost health, wealth, and friends. Everything I touched turns out wrong. Just feeling completely defeated. And the advice he got was fundamental. Establish a new major premise in your thinking, a new foundational belief. And this was the professor's new major premise, quoted directly. Infinite intelligence leads and guides me in all my ways. Perfect health is mine, and the law of harmony operates in my mind and body. Beauty, love, peace, and abundance are mine. The principle of right action and divine order govern my entire life. And crucially, he added, I know my major premise is based on the eternal truths of life, and I know, feel, and believe that my subconscious mind responds according to the nature of my conscious mind thinking. He apparently repeated this slowly, lovingly, letting it sink in, and later reported amazing changes. All departments of my life are changing for the better. It works.
It really highlights the power of that foundational belief, but also raises an important flip side. What happens if we kind of deny the power within? The sources explain that if your conscious mind gets stuck in thoughts like, oh, there's no way out, or I'm lost, I'm completely blocked, you're essentially setting up roadblocks. You're denying the wisdom and power of your subconscious. And if you do that, well, you won't get an answer. You won't find a solution from that deeper level.
Okay, so how do we cooperate? How do we actively work with our subconscious to achieve our goals, our desires? The advice is to affirm boldly, several times a day, something like this. The infinite intelligence which gave me this desire leads, guides, and reveals to me the perfect plan for the unfolding of my desire. And continue with. I know the deeper wisdom of my subconscious is now responding, and what I feel and claim within is expressed in the without. There is a balance, equilibrium, and equanimity. Feel the truth of it.
And similarly, if you're looking for an answer to a specific problem, the technique is to first quiet the conscious mind, get still, and then calmly, confidently affirm. My subconscious knows the answer. It is responding to me now, followed by gratitude. I give thanks because I know the infinite intelligence of my subconscious knows all things and is revealing the perfect answer to me now, trusting that it's happening.
Wow. This deep dive has really shown the incredible power that's just sitting there inside our own minds. Let's just quickly recap some of those really big takeaways from the sources. First, you are what you think all day long. Simple as that. Think good, good follows. Think evil, well, evil follows. Second, your subconscious doesn't argue. It just accepts what your conscious mind decrees is true. Third, you have the power to choose. So choose health, choose happiness, choose being friendly, choose joy. Fourth, remember your conscious mind is that watchman at the gate. Guard your subconscious from false ideas and choose to believe something good can happen now. Fifth, watch your words seriously. Your subconscious takes you literally. It can't take a joke. Saying I'll fail or I can't pay the rent can actually help bring those things about. Sixth, never ever say I can't. Flip it, affirm. I can do all things through the power of my own subconscious mind. And finally, you're the captain of your soul. That's your subconscious mind. You are the master of your fate. You absolutely have the capacity to choose.
Absolutely. I think the single most powerful, overarching insight from all these sources is just that. Whatever your conscious mind assumes and truly believes to be true, your subconscious mind will accept it and bring it to pass. Knowing that is incredibly empowering, isn't it? It means you're not just a passive recipient of life, you have an active hand in shaping your reality.
We've definitely seen how these internal beliefs and even suggestions from others, once they're accepted, how they can manifest in just incredible ways.
Yeah.
From, healing physical problems to creating desired changes in life circumstances, or even, tragically, like in those stories, causing actual physical harm. The range is astounding.
So maybe here's a final thought to leave you with, something to really mull over. If your subconscious mind is constantly, tirelessly working to take care of you, to preserve you, and it simply responds to the thoughts, the beliefs, the imagery you give it, what new major premise, what new core belief are you going to choose to impress upon it starting right now, today?
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the, frankly, incredible power of your own mind. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and definitely keep empowering yourself with knowledge.